Hello, everyone. Camilla Jeffs here with Steady Stream Investments, coming to you to talk about the benefits of real estate funds. Let's get started. So, Steady Stream Investments, I always say it's an education company first. We are here to educate you on how to be a great passive investor and how to really understand the ins and outs of joining a group investment. Our goal is to make sure that you come away with financial peace of mind and leave a legacy for your family. So today we're going to talk about the benefits of a fund for investors. So steady stream investments, typically we just invest into single assets, but now we have the opportunity to invest in a fund. And what is a fund? Well, a fund is a pool of money that then goes out and purchases multiple assets. So it's kind of a single source of investment that then you can be into multiple assets. So let's talk about why that's a great thing. So number one is diversification. A fund gives you really great diversification because it allows you to invest in multiple apartment complexes at once, right? Instead of just one project. And we're get into like details of why that's really important, but what's nice about it is that, at Steady Stream Investments, we like to provide multiple asset classes in multiple markets with multiple teams so that you get a chance to diversify your funds. But now instead of having to do that individually, you can do it into the fund in just one set of paperwork, which is really cool. So another reason that it's great to invest in funds is that you get the tax benefits from multiple properties, not just one property. You're going to get it from multiple properties. And this is so amazing. This is why we love real estate, right? Is that we get really great tax benefits, not only tax benefits, but of course it builds our net worth and our wealth and helps us have that legacy. But we invest in multiple properties, so you're going to get those tax benefits. But remember, you're only going to get one K1, right? So you only get one set of paperwork to give to your CPA. So it's not like you're going to get a whole ton of different ones. You'll just get that singular K1. The third thing is it's just a simplified process. So remember, when you invest into one asset at a time, you have to go through the whole process. Well, if you want to diversify and have your money across multiple markets, well, now you can do that with a fund, but it's the same process. So very simple. You only need one form. You don't have to do multiple forms, and you just go through and it's pretty easy. So let's talk about the advantages of a fund for operators, right? So when an operator is going to go out and buy a property, it's been really challenging for us over the last year to find a good property because properties have just skyrocketed, right? The prices of properties have just gone up. And so we're all trying to figure out how can we still get a good deal, and that's good enough for our investors, because we still want to provide you with really great equity multiples, with really great projected returns, and a safe place to put your wealth and to grow your money. So what's really cool about having a fund is that it provides us this competitive edge. And the reason it is, if you think about buying a single family home, so maybe some of you have experienced this, you're trying to buy a primary house for yourself, and you have to go out and you have to bid, because we're in a really, really big seller's market right now. So there's bidding wars all over the place. Well, that same thing's happening in multifamily, is bidding wars. Well, who typically wins the bidding war? Sometimes it's the person who says they'll pay the highest price, right? But often it's the person who says, well, I have all cash. I'm just going to pay cash for it and I can close in 2 weeks. So that person, the person who has all cash, is in the best competitive advantage, because sometimes they don't even have to pay the highest price, right? Because maybe somebody else comes in with a price that's 20,000 more than what your price was. But since you have a cash offer, often that seller is going to take your offer over somebody else's. So same thing happens here. So with a fund, what we do is we go out and we raise money from investors. So investors invest into a fund, and now we have a giant pool of cash that we can go out and we can say, hey, Mr. Seller, we have cash, and we have all of this cash behind us, so we will guarantee that we will close and we can do it quickly. And so that really affords us the absolute best deals right now in this market. And so that's a really great advantage. Now, we want to get the best deals because then we can pass on those extra profits to you as a passive investor. So let's talk about funds versus single assets. So what are some of the differences? So we talked a little bit about diversification. So greater diversification across multiple markets. This is really critical right now to really reduce your risk of investing. I'm all about being conservative and never losing money, and that's a big no-no in my world. And so we want to make sure that I like to have my funds diversified. So I like to invest in different markets. Now that I want to make sure they're all strong markets, right? I'm not just going to go invest in a market just because I want to diversify. I'm like, oh, well, I don't have anything in Nebraska, for example. Well, no, not necessarily, right? You need to study the markets and make sure you're going into very strong markets. Well, with the funds that we are providing, we do a lot of that research for you. So we are there in those markets and studying them all the time. So the nice thing about that is you can diversify across multiple markets. Whereas investing in a single asset, you're just investing in that one market, right? So you have a little bit of extra risk there that if that market goes down or something weird happens in that market, or some weird law changes and suddenly we can't increase rents, right? The rent control that does happen in markets. Then you're just hedging your bets on that one market. Whereas in a fund, you'll have multiple markets that if one goes down or something funky happens in one, the other two are there to still keep the fund going strong. The second thing is it spreads the equity multiple across a collection of assets. So remember, the equity multiple is the number that we're trying to achieve for you. It's how much money your money turns into. So say you invest 100,000 into a project. Well, if it turns into 200,000 by the end, you have an equity multiple of 2.0x, right? So the equity multiple, sometimes in a single asset, it's determined on just one asset, right? So again, if something happens to that one asset, then that could affect your equity multiple. Whereas now that in a fund, we have a collection of assets. So we're spreading that across. So it really helps to minimize that and mitigate that risk. And then the tax advantages are actually the same, right? The same in funds as they are in single assets. So all of that depreciation, all those great tax benefits get passed directly on to you. So what's the process of investing in a fund? Well, very simple and exactly the same as investing in a single asset. So number one, you're going to determine your commitment. How much are you willing to invest into this fund? And really, if you think about it, not necessarily as how much are you willing to invest, but how much money do you want to make in the end? So if you want to make $100,000, you need to invest $100,000, right? If you only want to make 50,000, then you invest 50,000. Step two, you sign up in our professional portal where we have all the information there for you, all the investment summary, the docs that's for you to review. And then step three, you sign those legal documents right there online in our portal. And step four, wire your funds. So you can see very simple process to get involved in a fund. It's just the exact same as a single asset. So what's step five? You ask? Take action today. So I really encourage you to take action, start investing, get involved, and I'll be there to help you every step of the way. Feel free to reach out. Please share this video and like it, and so that we can continue to provide great educational content. Thanks, everyone.